really sprout up.
They've whoa, they're going now.
I don't know how long it takes for.
Woo! We're eating our.
Dude, when in the Scouts, we were in Kentucky, we were up on the mountains, and there were parts where and one of the kids, Kyle, Udall, little guy, we're like laughing, and we look down, he just down, he ran over there, and it was like this natural slide. It was weird. It was like a slide with dirt down. We looked down, he wasn't there. He stopped and he was like, look at it.
What are you doing, Merrick?
Oh, I forgot to. Hey, pause. Okay.
All right, here's a short video of how this is put together. There's the back, move along the side. We'll start back here. Got the motor, the go-kart kit. That is the motor and the controller, throttle on Amazon for a little over $100, right about $100. And that includes the chain and the sprocket that goes on the wheel. Controller is right down there. It's a 1,000-watt motor, but this one is a brushed motor. Most of the newer ones are brushless, which gives them a little more power. And then the wheels were Harbor Freight for about $7 a piece. Here's how they come, like that. Although these are black, they're either way. They've got them black sometimes when you go in there. Sometimes they're white. I think the black ones are usually a little better bearing in them. At the time I got them, this was built about 3 years ago. And so what we're using for power, the most expensive thing on these things is a battery. And what I had was a Snapper weed eater with a 60-volt battery. So I connected that up. It just plug it in to the plus and negative. You'll see that spark a little bit. That's the capacitors charging up. And then we have on-off switch up here, and forward to reverse gear right there, and then the gas pedal right there. So Let's see if I got something to set under there. This old Dutch oven. And you hit the throttle like that, then we can turn it off and pull it out of gear. So that's about it. I did add a chain tensioner to it. Had a little trouble with the chain coming off. So that's the chain tensioner. And did have to put a stop on that right there to keep the chain, because it has a reverse, and when you put it in reverse, this tensioner wants to go with the chain and go back, and that pulls the chain off of the sprocket. So that stop there prevented that from happening, it going too far, putting too much tension on in reverse. This battery will last, probably go about 5 miles with that battery. Usually it lasts us about 20 minutes when we're out, the kids are out riding it. But with 2 batteries, you can keep going, charge one while you're using the other one. We bought this Snapper lawn or weed eater a number of years back, and then I bought a similar chainsaw that uses the same battery. This is PowerWorks, and actually the Snapper is built by PowerWorks. So that gave us, these are only $150 for the chainsaw. They're really a nice little chainsaw, so to have the extra batteries, that was a good way to do it. You can, now these are rated at 60 volt. You might think, well, that's over too much volts for that controller and motor, but they hype them up as 60 volts are really, that's peak voltage. And a 48 volt battery runs a little over 52 peak. So they're not that far apart. They're close enough that it hasn't caused any problems. I haven't had any trouble with the controller with those. If anything, these batteries can get overworked from the motor, and you got to watch that. So I do have a 48 volt battery I'm going to get that's made for a bike, and use it on here. Okay, if we go to the front on the brake, is right there. You buy that separate. It's about $25 for the brake kit with the cable. And the way we mounted both the brake drum and the chain sprocket is I took the bolts out on the wheel and put threaded rods through there, and then I could space the drum where I needed it to be with one nut, and then put another nut on the other side with lock washers to tighten it down. So that's the way that one goes on, and the same for this one over here. This one is pretty critical. You got to get it just right to keep that chain sprocket as straight as you can. And then the big bolt runs underneath. It's attached underneath the Go-kart. Have two 2x4s that run the length of the Go-kart. Those are kind of like the frame rails. Didn't know if that would be enough, but it seems to work plenty good. We've had people over 200 pounds on this and hasn't seen any type of fletch or any problem. And then we framed in a triangle up front, covered it with some plywood. These are just scraps that were left around the house, and then angled the 2x4s up front for the steering. Some of that and a steel pipe that goes down and is hooked on like that for the steering. The only place that we did any welding was right here. Just wanted to make sure that it probably would have been possible to bolt that on, but I wanted to make sure it was wasn't going to fail on us. So that's welded there and there, and just spot welded, but probably ought to do a little better welding job, but it seems to work real well. Like I said, the throttle came as part of the kit. You have to watch, a lot of these kits have the other kind of throttle goes on a handlebar, and I wanted the foot. It just didn't seem right for a go-kart to have that type of a throttle. The brake pedal we build out of some scrap. Brake pedal we built out of some scrap wood and put a spring on it so it returned. You can see the cable right here runs through here and back to the brake. And steering wheel was just one that was around the house that had gone in a car. That's a Grant steering wheel, so it kind of decorated it up good. The seat got at Goodwill. It was on an old school desk that they wanted $7 for, so I thought that would make a great seat for the go-kart. So we bought the $7 school desk and took the seat off of it. Let's see, what else is there? Maybe to look underneath. The seat's adjustable. Pull those pins out. You can slide it frontwards or forward. And then we got some more framing holding the axle up, and use the conduit hangers for the pipe for the axle. And then the bolts go through there, and you got a cotter pin that holds each bolt in. You get the right size bolts for the wheels. The wires all run down through the frame rails, so they're well protected. And then you've got the brackets, metal brackets, to provide kind of a bumper on the side. And we got some locking nuts for the bolts that go in the front, because those are, you got to get just right or they will come loose. Some more metal brackets that we did to make it a little more structurally solid. So I think that's about it. So thanks for watching. I hope that gives you some ideas. Enjoy.